Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Evam Yaha Vetti Tattvataha Evam Yo Vetti Tattvataha Yaktva Deham Punaha Janma Yaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Sorjuna Naiti Mameti Sorjuna Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Evam Yo Vetti Tattvataha Yaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Sorjuna Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Evam Yo Vetti Tattvataha Yaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Sorjuna Janma Birth Karma Work Cha Also Me of Mind Divyam Transcendental Evam Like this Yaha Anyone who Vetti knows Tattvataha Reality Yaktva Leaving aside Deham This body Punaha Again Janma Birth Na Never Vetti Does a thing Ma Unto me Vetti Does a thing Saha He Arjuna Arjuna Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Please repeat the translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Purport. The Lord's descent from His transcendental abode is already explained in the 6th verse. One who can understand the truth of the appearance of the personality of Godhead is already liberated from material bondage, and therefore he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting this present material body. Such liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not at all easy. The impersonalists and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve, merging into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti of the Lord, is only partial, and there is the risk of returning again to this material world. But the devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the body and activities of the Lord, attains the abode of the Lord after ending this body, and does not run the risk of returning again to this material world. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord has many forms and incarnations. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. Although there are many transcendental forms of the Lord, they are still one and the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. One has to understand this fact with conviction although it is incomprehensible to mundane scholars and empiric philosophers. As stated in the Vedas, Eko Devo Nitya Leelanuragto Bhaktavyati Vidyantaratma. The one Supreme Personality of Godhead is eternally engaged in many transcendental forms in relationships with his unalloyed devotees. This Vedic version is confirmed in this verse of the Gita personally by the Lord. He who accepts this truth on the strength of the authority of the Vedas and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who does not waste time in philosophical speculations, attains the highest perfectional stage of liberation. Simply by accepting this truth on faith, one can, without a doubt, attain liberation. The Vedic version, Tattvam Asi, is actually applied in this case. Anyone who understands Lord Krishna to be the Supreme, or who says unto the Lord, "You are the same Supreme Brahman," the personality of Godhead, is certainly liberated instantly, and consequently his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed. In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection, and this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertion: Tameva viditvati mrityumeti nanyah pantha vidyate ayanaya. One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no alternative, because anyone who does not understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is surely in the mode of ignorance. Consequently, he will not attain salvation, simply, so to speak, by licking the outer surface of the bottle of honey, or by interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to mundane scholarship. Such empiric philosophers may assume very important roles in the material world, but they are not necessarily eligible for liberation. Such puffed up mundane scholars have to wait for the causeless mercy of the devotee of the Lord. One should therefore cultivate Krishna consciousness with faith and knowledge, and in this way attain perfection. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta Parva. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vachatyadeshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasani Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Lord Krishna, first time in the Bhagavad Gita, is making a distinction between himself and Arjuna in chapter 4. Lord Krishna began this chapter by telling, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manurikshvapuya bravi. Krishna told that I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. It's the duty of human form, every human being, to know his relationship with the Supreme Lord, and it's the duty of the representative of the Supreme Lord, the King himself, to facilitate this knowledge to be disseminated to one and all. So it begins from the sun god, Ikshvaku, Vivasvan, and from Vivasvan it goes to Manu, who is the father of mankind, this knowledge of who am I, who is God, what is my relationship with Him. This is called yoga. So Krishna is telling, I instructed this to Vivaswan first, because only Krishna knows what is this creation, who are we, and what is the purpose of this creation. Complete knowledge about everything is known only to that Supreme Lord Krishna. So Krishna is the Adi Guru, or the original Supreme Guru, who knows everything. From him knowledge comes. Now this knowledge was instructed to Sun God Vivaswan, and from Vivaswan it went to Manu, and then from Manu it went to Ikshvaku. In that way, in Parampara, that knowledge was being disseminated. But what happened? Krishna says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakaleneha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. This supreme science was thus received in the chain of disciplic succession by the saintly kings and understood in that way. But in due course of time, the succession was broken. Sakalene hamahata yogo nashta parantapa. Therefore, the science as it is appears to be lost. When Krishna came 5000 years ago, he saw that science which he had instructed to Sun God many millions of years ago, the beginning of creation when Sun planet was created, and then Vivaswan was ruling. Krishna had personally instructed to him millions of years ago, and 5000 years ago when Krishna came, he saw that actual knowledge that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead and we are all His eternal parts and our duty is to serve Him with love and devotion, this message was lost. So he said, now I want to start this parampara again, beginning with you. Sayevaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratana. That same yoga, that same science of understanding who am I, who is God, what is my relationship with God, that same science which is puratana, it's not new. Nowadays people have this passion of creating newer and newer methods of realizing God, newer and newer ways, newer and newer imaginary methods. They are called speculations. I will find out who is God, or some people say we are all God, there is no need of finding out God. Why do you want to see? All are gods here. We are all God only. See, they don't know who is God. They come out with their own methods of gods to find out God. But Krishna is telling this science is puratana. It doesn't change by a passage of time. So that same puratana yoga, I am going to instruct you because you have a specific qualification. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam yetad uttamam. Now, to know this science is not very easy. Just like ordinary material education, if you have to do engineering, first of all you have to go to nursery, then first standard, second standard, like that, keep passing. Then 10th standard. 10th standard is turning point of life, they say. If you don't do well, then finish. So parents are very alert. 10th standard, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಆಟ ಆಡಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಾಕು. Enough of playing now. Now this year you have to study very well. They give so much importance. And then after that, because 10th standard, that is the time where the brain develops properly. He has to prove his ability for the next, because next there will be some specifications. Whether he has to go towards science or commerce or arts or what to do, turning point of life. And then after that, based on the marks, he has to choose PUC, what combination he has to select. He doesn't know, poor boy. Father, mother will tell. The father is an accountant in CA or commerce. If father is an engineer already working in some engineering field, he will tell you should become engineer. Father is already a contractor or something, you should become civil engineer. So you take a science background. So like that, parents, they want to guide with their experience, whatever they have, they would like to guide their children in that same way. So they will decide, okay, you take this field. And children also will obey generally. And then they will go PUC. Then after that, one more turning point will come. Now graduation, there also was very tough competition. Seats are limited. Either donation seat or free seat. Free seat very, very tough. Donation seat also very tough. You have lots of money to get. And then somehow you have to enter into one college. And there again, real tough job begins. It's not easy, somehow you get seat, it's not easy. Just getting seat is not over. You have to work very hard and understand the subject and pass those subjects. After 4 or 5 years, based on the course, either medical or engineering, you will become an engineer. So 15 years or 20 years goes just to understand some theoretical knowledge. That to material science, what is matter. So this knowledge, what Krishna is telling, to know who am I, who is God, what is my relationship with God, why we are all suffering in this material world, to understand this knowledge, Krishna says, is very, 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 very tough. Why? Because Krishna says there is a specific qualification needed to understand this. Everyone cannot understand. For material science, everyone can understand. Because I am little like you for that subject, you can easily understand. You can be doing all sinful activities, you can be meat eating, you can be drinking, you can be doing whatever you want. Still you can get 100 out of 100. You can threaten your teacher, you can challenge your teacher also. It happens nowadays in colleges. They fight with the teacher, they scold the teachers left and right. Because they are having that ability to remember. They mug up the whole textbook and go and write. Very easy to get marks. But this science, to understand who am I, who is God, what is my relationship with God, how to get liberation from this body, to understand how I am not this body, I am soul. If you get 100 out of 100 in material science, you cannot understand this science, not necessary. To understand this science, Krishna is telling, you should be a devotee of Krishna, you should be a friend of Krishna. Without that, you can never understand this science. It is a rahasya. It is a supreme secret. This secret will be opened only for selected fortunate souls who are very humble, who have surrendered basically. Even humility, many people will be humble. But especially they should have received mercy of Guru and Krishna. Only such people will receive it. This science, transcendental science, is not acquired by our personal abilities. It is received from the superior authority, the spiritual master and Krishna. How we receive it, whom they will give it, there is no particular formula. Whoever is fortunate, he will receive. So here Krishna is telling, because you are my bhakta, because you are my sakha, you can understand this science, so I am going to instruct you. When Krishna told this, immediately Arjuna got one doubt. He said, Aparam bhavato janma, param janma vivasvataha. Vivasvan, who is the king of sun planet, he is param janma, he is superior, he is senior by birth to you and me. We both took birth recently, maybe 100 years ago. Because in battlefield they are talking. So 100 years Arjuna's age and Krishna's age by then. So 100 years ago we both took birth. But sun god is there from the time of creation of the sun planet. Vivasvan is there. He is millions of years ago, senior to us by birth. Katham etad vijaniyam tvamado proktavaniti. How can I understand that you instructed this science to sun god, because sun god is superior to us. He has taken birth many millions of years ago. We just appeared a few years ago here, 100 years ago. How can I understand? Then Krishna says, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna. Here Krishna is telling, we both, many births, both you and I have passed. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna. Tanyaham veda sarvani. I remember everything. Natvam veda parantapa. But you are forgotten. This is the first difference Krishna is telling about between himself and Arjuna. Krishna is telling many births both you and me have taken. You are with me only. In every birth, you are always my friend. But Tanyaham Veda Sarvani, I remember everything. But you don't, you have forgotten. Why? Because Ajopi San Abhyayatma. I am unborn and I do not change my body when I appear. Arjuna is a condition, ordinary soul like us, who is having a material body and soul inside. So when Arjuna takes birth, he accepts a material body and comes. So when we change the bodies, then we forget our past lives. Like all of us, we have been taking birth many lives, but we have forgotten. This is the difference between Krishna and us. Krishna doesn't change his body. Why? Because he is Ajopi San Abhyayatma. Bhutanam Ishvaropi San. Here Krishna is telling, I am the Ishvara of all living beings. I am not like you, ordinary man. You have forgotten everything, but I remember everything. And I am Ishvara of every living being. I am the Supreme Master, Supreme Controller, Supreme Supplier for everyone. And Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. His own Atma Maya. He chooses where to appear, when to appear. He chooses. Out of his own internal energy, out of his own Atma Maya, he appears. This is the first difference Krishna brings about in Bhagavad Gita, that he is not an ordinary man like any of us. And then he further goes on describing today's verse. He is telling, Janma karma cha me divyam. My janma, my karma are all divya. Divya means transcendental, beyond the effects of this material nature. It's not under the laws of material nature. We are all conditioned souls. Conditioned souls means we are affected by the laws of nature. We cannot go beyond the laws of nature. Just like we all have to take birth. After birth, then next what happens? Slowly we grow. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. From childhood to boyhood, then youth, with old age, then death. This is law of nature. Can we change it? Kaumaram jara, then yauvana? No. From childhood, one doesn't become old and then youth. You cannot change, reverse. This is the law of nature for every species. You take birth, you grow, there is some childhood, then after there is youth, then slowly dwindling, then death. This law of nature. We are all under the stringent laws of nature. We cannot overcome the laws of nature. Once we enter into a particular body, we have to behave according to the body. But we are all soul. But once you enter, you cannot avoid it. Just like after death, you have to accept one body. Based on karma, the body is decided. If the soul is sent to a dog's body, once it enters into dog's body, it has to eat like a dog now. It will naturally start liking all the food which dog likes. It has to bark like a dog whole life. It has to sleep like a dog. Eating, sleeping, everything based on the Prakriti which is designed. Dog's body is a kind of design. If it becomes angry, what the dog does? Barks and bites. Isn't it? But when a man becomes angry, he does many things. Sometimes some people will be angry, but they'll be silent ones. Human beings have freedom. He expresses in different ways. Silently, he'll be making a big plan how to destroy him. He'll not show his anger. Some people, those are not very controlled, they immediately start shouting. And physically also they'll start attacking. Little intelligent people, they'll wait. So, the same anger is expressed differently in different species. In human species, we can see varieties of ways of expressing anger. But in animal species, they just bark and they just come and attack. That's all. In plant species, they cannot express any anger. You can go and cut poor plant, it cannot do anything. It should only tolerate and then it will die. So based on the body we acquire, we are affected. It's called conditioning. But Krishna says, my janma is divya. I am not conditioned by any body. So, evam yo vetti tattvataha, if you understand this in fact in this way, from an authorized source, if you understand Krishna's janma and Krishna's karma, tattvataha, then Tyaktva deham punarjanmana iti. When we understand Krishna, that means we are understanding ourselves also. Understanding Krishna means understanding everything related to Krishna also. Krishna is not alone. Krishna and Krishna's energies is complete understanding. Who is Krishna? What is this material world? That is external energy of the Lord. Who are we? Marginal energy of the Lord. Then there is internal energy of the Lord for personification of like Radha, Sita, Lakshmi. So when we understand Krishna, we understand everything. Yasmin vijñāte sarvam evam vijñātam bhavati. When you understand Krishna, automatically there is understanding of material knowledge, then understanding of our relationship with the Lord, everything will be revealed. Therefore Krishna says, once you understand me, tattvataha, in truth, then tyaktva deham punarjanmana iti. You will never again take birth in this material world. Because you have understood the truth. You have understood that you are supposed to eternally be engaged in serving the Lord. You have understood that happiness is not in serving Maya. There is an example given. On Facebook there is one video posted, it seems. One devotee was telling. There is one big snake. I think it's anaconda, I think. Someone has shot a video. It has coiled itself and in a park or somewhere. And it is just lying there. And that head is not visible, it is inside. And one boy went there, he didn't know that it's a snake, big snake. He went and sat on that. And immediately the snake understood, now one prey has come. And it swallowed that boy. So Maya is like that. It attracts us. When we go for the enjoyment with Maya, it will swallow us. So anything material, it appears to be pleasurable. And when we indulge in sense gratification in any sort of, in any form it can be, it is dangerous. Maya is very, very dangerous. That's why Krishna has told in Bhagavad Gita, don't plan to settle down in this material world. You know, Krishna is telling because this world is Maya Jagat. Maya is very, very expert in alluring us. Everywhere Maya's objects are there. We don't realize at all. Recently there was a cyclone in Visakhapatnam, Vizag. What's the name of the cyclone? Yes? Hood or Gadbad independent. The names they give is also like that. It came and it washed away the entire city. They were prepared for it actually. Before the cyclone came, all that preventive measures had some 30 men who are ready to rescue operation team and something, so many things are prepared, ready. But still I think around 30 people I think died. So preparation is good. Now post-operations are going on. Lots of diseases are going to spread and there's no power and they're not unable to pump water, drinking water, and people are suffering without proper basic facilities. They're all afraid now what's going to happen. So, okay, you're preparing for danger, but did you teach those people who died how to face death? Death will come suddenly, we don't know when. So, we are all absorbed in this material world. How can I achieve some temporary goals, material goals, ambitions? I have to become this, I have to become that. When will I become manager? I'm just a team member now. When will I become manager? When will I have my own company? Goals. The goals are good, but real goal is how to get out of this material world. Parallelly, we should have two goals. Material goals, if you live for 100 years, okay, 100-year plan you can make and keep. Parallelly, we should have spiritual goals. I might die tomorrow, one more Hudhud can come here, we don't know. So when Hudhud comes, what will I do? Any plan have you made? No. See, this is our buddhi is like that. That's why in Kali Yuga especially it is told, Manda Sumanda Matayo. Kali Yuga people are Sumanda Mati. They don't know what is good for them and what is bad for them. They are only interested in sense gratification. Puna Puna Charvita Charvana. They want to enjoy the same thing which has been enjoyed in life. It's all miserable basically. So we don't worry at all. We are seeing so many people are dying. That anaconda swallowed actually. And the man is shooting the video. Instead of going and helping or saying. People, Paradukhe Sukhi. Our pleasure is, let him die, I will now post this video. And I'll get so many likes. One more boy was very crying, it seems. Mother asked, why are you crying? No, I posted in my Facebook. Still no one has liked it. When did you post? Mother asked. 5 minutes ago. So quickly people have to read and quickly they have to like. So this is the greatest addiction nowadays. This internet and Facebook. And government is facing really very tough problem. This is very difficult problem. Addiction. There are many addictions, cigarette and intoxication and other things. Now greatest addiction is internet. People are immersed in some other illusory world. They don't know how time is going on. They don't know what to do. And they're affected by that. They're thinking this is my world. So we should get out of this material world, and Krishna is telling you should get out of this material world and come to the spiritual world, which is real world. This material world is dangerous world, very, very dangerous. And this material world, people don't project the miseries. Wherever you see the advertisements, some beautiful woman will be smiling. Wear this jewelry, very beautiful. Bhima, Arjuna, Bhima jewelry. Beautiful it will be. They don't know how difficult it is. Have it. And even if you have those jewels, behind, you should be, those who are having that wear, there will always be anxiety. How much anxiety? Even actually during our Acharya's time, Jagannath Das Babaji. In Vrindavan, Jagannath Das Babaji was there doing his bhajan and kirtan. So some merchant he met Babaji and took blessings and gave him some gold coin. Jagannath Babaji, he took it. And then he was going and he could not bear that having some few coins. It was not even very valuable. He came back searching where is that merchant. He said, no, please take back your coins. I cannot keep this because it is creating so much of anxiety in me. So material wealth is a source of anxiety. Just like Ravana, he wanted to enjoy Mother Sita, but she became the source of death for Ravana. So if you want to enjoy wealth and property without the Supreme Lord, then it becomes a source of anxiety. So one should actually utilize everything only for the pleasure of the Lord. Then I can join the company of the Lord and enjoy with Him. This is the real pleasure. This is called real yoga. This is what the science of God, which Krishna was teaching to Arjuna. That enjoyment, real enjoyment is possible only with Krishna, not without Krishna. With Krishna, you can live even in a big palace. Like the Pandavas, they were all living in palace, full of opulence. But still they were not in Maya. Why? Their main business was always remembering Krishna and serving Him. So you can live in a very humble place, a hut or something. You can be peaceful there if you remember Krishna. Or you can be in a big palace like Indraprastha. There also you can be happy if you remember Krishna. But without Krishna, if you are in a hut, there is anxiety. If you are in a palace, also you are in anxiety. That's why this material world is called world of anxiety, Kunta Jagat. So if at all we have to be happy, we have to understand Krishna and join with Him in a loving relation. Wherever we are, that place will become Vaikuntha. Now this Krishna's Janma and Karma are Divya. One example I would like to give from Krishna Lila. When Krishna was just 1 year old, he was turning upside down his back. Generally when they lie on the back, slowly the babies will start turning. And then he turned back on his belly. And it was a great celebration. It's like when small babies they turn, and mothers are so happy, oh, Namaga Yoga. Like that. It was a big celebration for Yashoda and all the cowherd men. And it was first birthday of Krishna, when Krishna turned backside. And so Yashoda invited all the cowherd men and friends and relatives. And there was a grand celebration. Brahmanas were called, and Brahmanas chanted from Vedic mantras for giving auspiciousness. And some yajnas were performed. And Nanda Maharaj gave in charity beautiful cows with all golden ornaments decorated. And they were all fed nicely. And then after that, Mother Yashoda was taking care of baby Krishna. Once Krishna was on the lap of Mother Yashoda, and he appeared to become very heavy. And Yashoda could not, keep him on the lap anymore. She felt that he's become so heavy. And then she placed him on the floor, and then she went inside the house to do some work. Immediately, one demon came in the form of whirlwind. And so much dust was raised in Vrindavan that no one could see each other. It was dark, fully dark. One could not see one's own self. And then the demon came and took Krishna up into the sky. And he wanted to kill. Basically, Kamsa had sent that demon, Trinavarta demon. And Yashoda came and she was full of anxiety. Where is my baby? She started crying. And all the gopis, they all came and they started searching. They were all crying. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? They were all searching. They could not find. But this demon had taken Krishna top to the sky. Then Krishna was holding the neck of the demon. He became very heavy, as heavy as a mountain. And then the demon understood that this Krishna baby is not an ordinary baby. Demons, they don't know who is Krishna properly. So he thought that maybe this baby is an ordinary baby. And Krishna became heavy like a mountain, and he caught hold of his neck tightly. and he started pushing the demon down. So immediately the demon could not go any more high in the sky, and he was trying to get free from Krishna, but Krishna did not leave him, and he pushed him down with great force, and the demon fell on the slab, and his eyes bulged out, and he was fully smashed. Just like Tripurasura was killed by Lord Shiva with his arrows, in the same way he fell down and died. And baby Krishna was playing on the body of the demon. And then all the gopis saw, our Krishna is here, and they took him, and they were thanking the Supreme Lord. They were remembering we would have performed lots of pious activities in our past life. That is why we got Krishna back. What great pious activities we have done, we don't know. What austerities we have done, we don't know. That Krishna is very safe now. You see, this is Vedic culture. They believe in Punarjanma, they believe in Karma, they believe in the protection of the Supreme Lord. This is Vedic culture. Whenever there is danger, they remember the Supreme Lord. Whenever they get back something which they have lost, they thank the Supreme Lord. Not nowadays, people are godless. Whatever achievement I have got, because of my hard work, they say. Yes, we have to work hard, but unless Daiva sanctions, you cannot get it. You should always know that our hard work is there, that's one factor. Daiva has to sanction, that's the main factor. And then they got Krishna back, and then they are thinking, this demon is sinful, therefore he has died. Krishna is very pious, so he is very safe. So the gopis were so much loving Krishna that by the influence of the internal energy, they didn't know that Krishna is God himself, because they were involved in that loving pastimes. So our duty is now to get out of this influence of external energy and enter into the influence of internal energy of the Lord, which is full of pleasure and which is everlasting. So for that we have to understand Krishna properly. How Krishna became so heavy like a mountain? Because he is not of this material world, he is spiritual, Divya. And during the same time, Krishna was kept below the hand-driven cart. And when that birthday ceremony was going on, there were so many friends and relatives, there's lots of noise. So Krishna became hungry and he started crying for milk. But Yashoda could not hear Krishna crying. She was busy in her own duties. And then because of his hunger, he started kicking the legs. Somehow by accident, his small toe touched the wheel of the cart, that's all. Immediately that cart got fully dismantled. And all the utensils which were arranged on the cart, brass utensils, they all scattered everywhere. This is the potency of Krishna. Just by touching his little toe to the cart, the entire cart got dismantled, and people, all the cohort men and gopis, they are wondering how is it possible. And some children were playing there nearby Krishna. They said actually Krishna kicked this leg and touched the wheel, so the cart fell into pieces. Some people are thinking how to believe these small children. Some people are thinking yes, maybe true. How can a 1-year-old baby do like this? So this is all Divya. So we have to understand Krishna's divine nature from the lips of a pure devotee, and here it is explained, to achieve that one should have 2 qualifications, faith and knowledge. Without faith, you can go on doubting, oh, these are all fictitious, someone has written, just for some time pass, some stories have been written, and why we have to believe this? We can think in that way and keep quiet. But if we have faith, yes, it is true. And with that simple heart, if we accept, and it's not blind faith, we should not accept anything blindly. These are all written by great acharyas, Ramanuja, Madhva, Nimbaraka, Lord Chaitanya, all highly intelligent people. They all have accepted, yes, this is true. They are all not ordinary men of this material world. They have shown extraordinary abilities in any field. they all have certified that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So based on the words of the authorities and the Shastra itself, we have to have faith and then accept it. Follow the process with faith. Then we can understand, we can enter into the divine nature of the Lord. So therefore, we have to read Bhagavad Gita. Krishna himself is teaching about himself. Every day we have to read some shlokas at least. In that way we can every day come to real knowledge. And we have to read with a mood of devotion. As I told, this is a rahasya. Everyone cannot understand. If you have to understand, we have to read with mood of devotion and surrender. Then Krishna will reveal. So every day I request all of you to read Bhagavad Gita. And there is one more book, Krishna Leela book. Every day one Leela if you read, you will get so much satisfaction which we are all hankering for. If you do not read Krishna Leela, if you do not taste that Krishna Leela's rasa, then our attention will go to material rasa. Somewhere pleasure we want. If you do not give spiritual pleasure to the soul, then it will look for that pleasure in material objects. And material objects are full of danger. You will only be suffering. So the path is shown here by our acharyas. Daily spend some time in hearing Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha is that Katha spoken directly by Krishna is Bhagavad Gita, and about Krishna is Bhagavatam. So these two are Krishna Kathas. So we should read every day these books. That will satisfy our soul completely, and in that way we have to live in this world. As long as we live in this world, simply absorb ourselves in Krishna Katha. So one such Leela which has happened is this Damodar Leela which we are now celebrating this whole month. How Mother Yashoda tied Krishna because of his naughty behavior. This is also very wonderful Leela. If you read this pastime, you will get immersed in Krishna Leela, the joy. So now we will be having Damodar Arati.